My background's in psychiatry and neurology. I've been medically trained for 20 plus years, and I got into psychedelic research and psychedelic assisted psychotherapy because I experienced firsthand the power of these medicines and the power of these tools for transformation. These medicine technologies are an accelerant tool of personal growth, healing, integration, and transformation. And they can make the standard of care look paltry in its current therapeutic power. Research is crucial in this arena, and the ability to track change over time is critical because data moves science and story moves culture. And we're in the midst of both occurring synergistically. We need the science in order to support the efficacy of these medical technologies in their incorporation into the medical mainstream, because the data is really good. And when you share the data, it engages the conversation of curiosity, oftentimes for those that are most skeptical. Like, wow, I didn't realize the data was that good. Tell me more. That's our challenge and our opportunity, is to actually develop a data system that tells a better story and a larger story.
It has been wonderful to be able to work with ketamine and non-ordinary states of consciousness with my clients who are working through traumatic events. This therapy allows for deeper healing and transformation, allows for access of parts of themselves that they wouldn't be able to access otherwise, and as well a different way of healing of the events that happened in their life in the past. So we, in our treatment, use a variety of scales where we measure, the progress of patients throughout the treatment. But what we find is that, sometimes people continue to improve even after the treatment. So that, there might be the initial shift, a symptom reduction, and then they continue to get better over the following weeks and months through the integration process. It is exciting to see the results our clients have, and by using these scales and measures, we can really see numbers and the results that patients are getting through the ketamine-assisted psychotherapy at our clinic. One of the challenges in running our practice was as well to really create a whole setup and the back-end support for our practice, including the EHRs and billing, having tools to collect measures and keep track of that. So it is important to have this kind of support in order to have a successful practice. So when we think about scaling and accessibility, we want to think about how we can do that without compromising the setting and the quality of the treatment, so that we can really provide the enough time for the treatments, that the therapists can be taking care of themselves to prevent burnout, and that the treatment can be affordable. And so, collecting measures, doing research, and collecting data to show the efficacy of this treatment is extremely important.
So people have asked me what it will take to advance this movement, and I always talk about the importance of collecting more clinical data in the field and having a way for that data to inform the larger collective of psychedelic research. So what we do in controlled research often is to assume that we have a therapeutic model that works, but we haven't really tested that model, we haven't tweaked it, and so what we can do in the field is we can start to do that, and we can take data that's naturalistic and see how different variables contribute to different parts of the process of change. And then once we learn about that, we can potentially intervene at different levels to try and optimize the therapeutic process.
Many of us have heard inspirational stories from friends and family whose lives have been transformed by psychedelic modalities. And through our own experiences, our team has had the honor of getting to know the therapists, coaches, and guides pioneering this space in communities all over the world. I believe that the future of psychedelic therapy is in the hands of these practitioners. But in order for them to succeed, they need better tools. They need purpose-built technology for operations like scheduling, referrals, billing, reimbursements, but they need much more than just this. You see, the imperative for these practitioners is to demonstrate that the work they're doing using psychedelics is safe and effective. They want to be able to measure their clients' health outcomes to begin bringing accurate data to a space that's traditionally relied on storytelling and trust. They aspire to provide clarity to their clients about what their healing journey will look like from preparation right through integration. They want to use this data to demonstrate the legitimacy of their practices and join the psychedelic research community by contributing clinical findings. That's why we created Maya, to empower psychedelic practitioners with the insights and technology they need to thrive. Maya is a software platform designed to help psychedelic practitioners track, measure, and illustrate the health outcomes of their work. This is essential so that they can scale safely and effectively, so they can serve more people, and so they can help advance psychedelic healthcare at large.
Well, Maya, in my view, has the potential to serve a few really important functions. There's plenty of practitioners already, and absolutely there's going to be more and more all the time, given the direction that psychedelic medicine is going in. And so simply to have practitioners collecting data, for too long, I think, data's gone by the wayside when people's lives have been turned around sometimes for the better. And there's, in a sense, no kind of quantitative record of it. And I think that's a great shame. So to have it more as the norm, as the default, that practitioners are collecting data and from that are able to demonstrate the value of psychedelic therapy is, first of all, a major contribution.
Maya is offering to practitioners by creating this greater connection to a global community of practitioners, the possibility of learning from each other, sharing experiences, sharing protocols, and sharing what is successful in the treatment with patients. It is important to use measures so we can collect data that will then serve to be able to show the effectiveness of these therapies, as well to see the progress of our patients. And it is exciting that many psychedelic assisted therapists can use the same system to collect data.
It's critical to have an excellent data collection system. And what I see Maya doing is not only aggregating large swaths of information so that they're more integrated in the community at large and people can have a shared experience of seeing the collective data so as to be able to move the science forward, to be able to accelerate the standards of care into greater degrees of efficacy. Now we have more power in that data. And what we are choosing to see is an entire transformation in how medicine is practiced. And anytime we shift and elevate and evolve an entire industry, it happens with the power of data and the power of the ability to tell the right story. And that's what we're doing with both. Data moving science, story moving culture. What Maya is doing, we haven't had the technologies to capture as much information and understand how to utilize that information at scale to better appreciate the therapeutic process and tell the right story of how therapy and healing happen. There's a lot I could say about Maya that makes me excited about working with them as a company and as a team. One is the breadth of the data that they're able to capture and how they're oriented towards telling the right story in the breadth of data for the clinicians and the number of clinics that they're serving, so as to be able to aggregate the data and tell the larger story. Secondly, I appreciate the flexibility of their platform that allows me as a clinician to be able to describe to them what is the data that I want to see captured in the clinical approach that we use in the clinics that I run. So to have that flexibility is critical. And then thirdly is the ability to ensure that the data is protected and private.
We are grateful to have had so much support from this community throughout the journey to create Maya. And now we're honored to share the platform with you.